Hello everybody, I'm Alex from Aurora, and today I would like to present you one of the important solutions that we have in Aurora project, ETH as a base token, why it is matters and how it is implemented. So to begin with, let me start with something pretty simple. Let's start with an overview of what Aurora is. So essentially, in a nutshell, Aurora is a solution that allows to execute Ethereum smart contracts on top of the more performant environment, which is the sharded Near blockchain. This is a very interesting solution for both of the Ethereum and Near ecosystems. For Ethereum, it allows for the scalability of the decentralized applications that are running there, and allows to cover additional markets for these dApps. For Near, on the other hand, it allows to quickly bootstrap the Near ecosystem and helps to scale the amount of the applications and the different operations that are available on top of the Near blockchain. Because Ethereum already has 7 years of development, and there are lots of the developers that already know Solidity or Wiper, there are lots of audited smart contracts and tools around Ethereum. So it will be pretty nice for Near to have an access to all of these knowledge bases, people, and tools. In terms of the implementation, Aurora is a smart contract that is implemented on top of Near blockchain. This smart contract has inside a Sputnik VM, which is the implementation of the Ethereum virtual machine that is run every time when a transaction is submitted to the Aurora. So we have here this concept of a dream and a dream, right? So we have Near virtual machine, which is the native environment where smart contracts are executed on Near. And inside of this Near virtual machine, what Aurora does, it spins up the Ethereum virtual machine, and then the user's transactions, the Ethereum virtual transactions, they are executed inside of the Ethereum virtual machine. So, and this whole machine is actually executed inside of the Near virtual machine. Because of this, we are not pushing Aurora to the level of the Near protocol, which allows for pretty fast iterations, and we are able to deploy new features pretty quickly on Aurora. Good thing about that Aurora, the Aurora is that it's not only the virtual machine, it's also an Web3 compatible RPC through which all of the Ethereum tooling is able to connect to Aurora. And this results in everything that you literally know about Ethereum is able to work with Aurora right here, right now. MetaMask and other wallets, Truffle, Hardhat, or other developer tools, IDEs like Remix, and so on and so forth. All of the integration of all of the existing front ends is super easy and clean. Using, for example, Web3.js or Ethers.js, and so on and so forth. So it is just absolutely the same Ethereum, but it is working on a different environment. You can think of it as a different chain where Ethereum is spun up. Now, the thing that is different for Aurora is that the base token, or the token that is used to nominate the fees for the user transactions, is not a fancy Aurora token. We are using ETH as a base token. Obviously, it's not the direct ETH that is there on that is existent only on Ethereum, but this is a bridged ETH from Ethereum to Aurora. And this particular feature is very important. And the reason why it is important, because it actually helps us to onboard users and developers quicker. And we are able to, these people do not need to understand what is the other token that is working there, whether the transactions are cheap or not, how and where can I get this token. So there is no these problems of the onboarding. And on the other hand, there are a set of other problems where existing projects would like to integrate with another network. And the thing that they need to get, for example, is a robust oracle that displays the token price. And for Ether, obviously, there are quite a lot of the robust oracles, but for maybe this particular token, like Aurora token, hypothetical Aurora-based token, there is no such an oracle. And that might be a problem in the integration. So using ETH as a base token, it removes this burden of the onboarding of the users and developers and helps people and helps the developers not to change their code and keep things very, very simple during the integration. Now, the interesting thing is how this stuff is implemented. So I'm going to go a little bit into the details of the technical implementation. So from the user standpoint, he sees that Aurora has this RPC, Web3 compatible RPC, and the user is working with this RPC absolutely the same way how he works with Ethereum. So he signs the Ethereum transaction, he sends this transaction to the RPC, and then, well, this is a black box for the user. But in fact, what happens is that this Web3 RPC, it wraps user's Ethereum transaction into a valid near transaction, sends it to the near network, obviously attaches some near gas and near to pay for the storage, and near protocol actually unwraps this transaction and starts the calculation of the near gas onwards. This is what near protocol is doing normally. So near protocol schedules the call of the Aurora smart contract with the parameter as this user signed transaction. Then this transaction goes to the Aurora smart contract, and what Aurora smart contract does, it unwraps user's Ethereum transaction, understands who is the signer of the transaction, and executes this. And as you know, EVM, what it does, it calculates the ETH gas usage. So in the end of the execution of the transaction, Aurora engine, or the smart contract with the EVM, it knows the amount of Ether that user just have spent on the transaction. And what it does, it transfers this Ether to the RPC account. So from the user perspective, the payment that is made is that he pays to Aurora or the Aurora protocol a little bit of ETH for the execution of the transaction. However, what is in fact happening is that the user pays this ETH to the RPC account, while the RPC is paying near to the near protocol, and this near gets burned. So we have this a very interesting separation of the economics that is happening in between the user and RPC, and the RPC and the protocol. And I specifically note in this particular feature because from my point of view, this is a tremendous opportunity to introduce something more simpler than the crazy gas user experience that all of the blockchain users are having. Blockchain users need to think about the gas price, whether it goes up and down, whether you need to retry the transaction, speed it up, and all of this stuff. So these are a very, very complicated user experience things. And here, these things are isolated into the relations in between the RPC and near protocol, while the monetary relations in between the RPC and the user can be different. This brings us a very nice opportunities, and I'm going to name a few of them. So first of all, the RPC can implement a different model for the accessing of the blockchain. because what RPC actually does, it supplies to the user the gas price, and the meaning of the gas price in this case is going to be pretty different from the Ethereum ones. So in Ethereum, the meaning of the gas price is something like the mean gas price of the unconfirmed transactions, while in Aurora case, the gas price, while it is absolutely the same number, it is going to mean, or it means different thing. It means that, hey user, if you will put this gas price in your transaction, then I'm going to wrap it into the Near transaction and send it to the Near blockchain. So the gas price that is presented by the RPC is the contract to the user. This is the deal from the RPC to the user. And what is very important, the RPC can introduce different deals to different users. So for example, there might be users that are buying a subscription to the blockchain, a thing that is unseen at the moment. So a user can come in to the RPC, log in into the RPC somehow. The user can add his credit card, pay $100 for the 1 month of the access to the blockchain without any limits. Or for example, what RPC can do is actually to allow user to do multiple transactions for free and then charge some money for the transactions. So this is like a freemium model. So additional business models for the access to the blockchain can be implemented. With this feature, the marketing campaigns can become just insane, because instead of paying to the advertisers for the paid advertisements or some kind of videos in the YouTube showing the features of the project and things like that, what projects can do, they actually can give the free access to the Aurora to the users that are using these projects. This is 100% efficient capital deployment, because 100% of the money that is, or like the value that is transferred to the users, is turned into the value to the users. And this value is actually the reduction of the fees, right? Or maybe if we are not fully removing the fees, then we can create promo codes that are given, 50% cash back for the fee or something like that. So super nice marketing campaigns. As I said in the very beginning, the main thing about it is that you can simplify and or fully remove the annoying gas user experience through these new models, or either returning to the user a flat gas price independently of the actual gas price in the Near blockchain. Since the user treatment is happening on since the treatment of the transactions is happening on the user level, this means that the RPC can know about the users, or the users of the RPC, much more, and it can specify the behavior in a very different manner according to the user. If you're an unknown user, you potentially can have a very limited access to the RPC. And by saying limited, I mean quite a lot of rate limits implemented there. However, if the user is an advanced user, for example, the user verified his identity, he can get higher limits. And through these mechanics, what can be implemented is an advanced protection against the denial of service attacks. As I mentioned, KYC, this is an interesting thing that within this RPC service, an additional services can be proposed to the users, like getting this KYC, or maybe some additional things like priority in the transaction execution. And the good thing is that, well, this idea is actually extendable to other Web3 compatible networks, right? So it is not something that is fundamentally changed in Aurora. The architecture decisions that were made in Aurora were just for the convenience of the usage of the Near protocol and for hiding everything behind hiding everything. And however, all of these ideas can be applied to other blockchains, though there is a problem that obviously the fees on Near are pretty low in comparison to the fees on Ethereum currently. And because of this, the logic of how the algorithms for the RPC going to decide on the price, on the gas price, is going to be tremendously different for Aurora and for Ethereum. And most importantly, there is no sacrifice on the decentralization of the access to the blockchain. One can think that, okay, this is a single RPC that I need to connect to, and then the RPC fully decides whether to send my transaction to the Near blockchain or no. Well, this is not correct, because anyone is able to spin up the RPC, and actually Aurora RPC can be spin up in just a single command from the command line. So we have everything Dockerized and packed into very simple Docker instances. So you can pretty simply deploy it. The problem is that, or anyone is able to do it, right? And the one single issue with this is that, well, you need to go a little bit into the guts. You need to create you need to acquire a little bit of Near for your RPC to pay for your transactions. And then, for example, you can say that the gas price for all of your transactions in Ether is 0. And it's just RPC that is going to pay for the transactions. In fact, we are embracing this decentralization. And as you may probably heard, we have a partnership with Consensus, and we are working with the Infura team on the integration of Aurora in the set of Infura products. So that's it from me today. I believe that the choice of Aurora of using ETH as a base token is very important for mass adoption. And I invite everybody to move towards this mass adoption, simplifying the gas user experience and onboarding the billion users to the blockchain. Thanks and stay tuned.